coming up on the 70% Podcast.
Our audience can see the different ways that we're being pulled apart.
Mm-hmm. And the different ways that you can actually think about things. And we've had some quality debates. It's quality conversations with people that don't think exactly the way we do.
Right.
You and I don't think exactly alike. But at the end of the day, we still agree that we need to come together and make some changes. Otherwise, we're all in a lot of trouble.
No doubt. Give their ideas and opinions the respect they deserve. And at the end of the day, come together with some type of, or try to come together with some type of consensus, even if it's to the point where we have to agree to disagree, but we're still going to, we're still not going to allow that subject or subject matter to divide us as a people.
Right.
You know, I've been asked this question several times. Why isn't the voice of the 70% being heard? You know, is it because we're complacent? Is it because we are working too hard and trying to take care of our families to be involved in all of that crap? I mean, what is the reason for our voice being, besides the media silencing us, of course?
Yeah. I saw Mike Gallagher put a video out, I think it was yesterday, and I posted it on my Facebook page today.
Let's dig that up.
Yeah, I think he made a lot. There are some things that I felt like he was maybe being a little overdramatic about, and I don't think he said really anything incorrect. Or I listened to this, and he's absolutely right in the overall point that he's trying to make. Maybe not exactly in the details. He is pretty spot on where this entire COVID vaccine fiasco is going. Hey, Nate, why don't you cue up the rest of that, Mike Gallagher?
All right, here we go.
We can't afford to inject that fear into our kids' classrooms or allow them to fall further behind. And I'm sorry, but remote learning is not a substitute, especially for young kids. Remote learning is a euphemism for school shutdowns, and that is a recipe for student failure. Sitting in front of a screen all day is not learning.
The 70% Podcast with your host, Amy Alexander and Mike Sewell.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 70%. Happy New Year. Hey, yeah.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
How was your vacation?
Oh, my God. It was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Looked like you got some sun.
I got a little bit of sun. I'm not supposed to be getting so much sun because of just past sun experiences. But it's hard when you just, I mean, it was so nice. It was in the 70s every freaking day we were there. And it's been a long time since I took a vacation with my sis. That was fun. Awesome. And yeah, it was just a really good, I needed it. I needed it to just kind of decompress a little bit and get back at it this year and make 2022 happen.
And then you got back here for New Year's?
Yes, I did.
Had some brisket with me and Audrey?
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was fun. We just kind of, we skirted into town like what did we get there, about 10:30 or something?
Wasn't it, did you say Happy New Year's with us?
Yeah, I did. Oh, you don't even
Hey.
Well, I feel like I made a special impression.
Hey, everybody, welcome to 1998.
I drove all the way from Florida to see you.
No, see, we got there, what, 7 or 8 o'clock, somewhere around in there. And so let's just say dry January is a very good thing for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you're doing, is this the first year you're doing it?
No, this is like the third year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I started it because of you.
I think I started it.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. In 2014, when my word of the year or phrase, I do a phrase, not necessarily a word.
No, I started you on the word.
You started me on the word. I was kind of already doing that, but it was going to be my 2014, my year of healthy living.
Okay.
And, and just thinking healthier, not necessarily like I'm never going to put myself on a diet where I'm just eating carrots and freaking crackers.
You'd probably disappear. I mean, what are you, 90 pounds?
Yeah, I'm a buck and some change. I don't know.
Sure.
But
wet with clothes on.
Wet with clothes.
Anyway, yeah, so I started in, I think 2014 was the year of healthy living. And I'm like, in Wisconsin, it's really, I mean, and you could use every excuse in the book, or you can think it's bad or good or indifferent, But there's a lot of drinking that goes around in Wisconsin.
A little bit.
Lot of things that we do, a lot of our social activities revolve around drinking. And I am a very social person.
Forget about it.
So
You go to a funeral, you're drinking. You go to a wedding, you're drinking. It's Packer Sunday, you're drinking.
I've seen a quarter barrel.
Packers are not playing, you're drinking.
I've seen a quarter barrel at a baby baptism. Okay.
Oh, wow.
This
you
is
know,
Wisconsin.
and right, and it's like,
I'm not joking.
And it's kind of funny, but it's not.
Well,
I
right,
get
and
it.
yeah.
Back to your healthy living.
So healthy living, and so I was like, okay, me quitting drinking in the middle of Wisconsin with that's just never going to happen. But I'm like, okay, I'm just going to give myself a drinking break. So I'm going to go the first month of the year, and I'm not going to drink or do any. I'm going to just a month of being healthy, and see where my mind goes, because I knew, after you do all the partying and stuff, the older I get, the longer that fog stays in there.
Right.
After you drink too much. And so I did that for a month, and I actually ended up going until I think I went till Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Because
the first year. Okay.
And then I've been doing it so then 2014 was the year of healthy living. So then, of course, that thing that I learned gets carried on to the next year. So then the next year was the year of positive influence. And so then of course, when I'm dry January,
You're having a positive influence on others and yourself.
Right. And my focus on making sure, I'm one of those big picture people, or I don't even know what the term. Like, I reflect every January and every June. June is my birthday, and January is a new year. So to me, that the new year of me is a new semester, like a new stepping stone.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then January 1st, of course, which is pretty well, close for everybody. But so then January, I've just been doing that drinking break, because I realized how much I realized things when I wasn't drinking for a month.
So let me make sure I got this. I understand it. You realize how much you realize when you realized it?
When it's honestly,
no, I understand what you're saying.
I commend people that can live clean.
Oh, forget about it.
Because I don't, and I can say all day long, well, it's not the way I was raised. I've been,
right.
And some people have the propensity for it. Some people do not.
No doubt.
But I don't have the propensity to just be that person every single day.
Right.
But I at least have the wisdom and knowledge to know that if I can just start my year out like that, the rest of it, the trajectory that's going to go from there is golden.
Right. No doubt.
So,
no doubt. And that was one of the reasons why they started this, not just the word of the year, but people have New Year's resolutions and things like that, because it's kind of like when you start out your day in the morning. Typically, those people who get up in the morning and make their beds, they tend to be a little bit more successful at life in general than those who just
you start the morning organized.
Exactly. Now, I'm not saying I make up my bed, but I'm just saying those who do.
Those other people who do.
I'll raise my hand. Preston even said, he's like, why do you make the bed? We're just going to sleep in it again. I'm like, well...
Just in case you have company and they want to go look in your bedroom.
I just think it's
nice house. What does your bed look like?
It's one of those things that the bedroom and the kitchen, if you're going to be walking in and out of there all the time or whatever, I don't deal well with clutter.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so anyway, but so then you got me on the word.
Right.
We were talking about it, and then
the word of the year.
Word, and that comes mostly from the one word. I think
it's the book called The One Word. I was lucky enough to meet the author, and he signed my book for me. But yeah, it's one word. It's basically the general idea is just starting out with one word for the year that's going to define your whole year. So every year I put together, think of a word, and I usually start to try to think about that, maybe in late October, November. Okay, what's my word going to be for the next
I start
year?
thinking about it then too, and then like December 30th, I'm like, okay, what?
Which one am I going to choose here?
It's kind of hard, but they've all kind of come together. So your word this year is
forward.
So
I have a tendency to dig into the past, not to dwell on it or anything like that, but to dig into the past, to learn, to take from the things that I have gone through, to understand the lessons from those, and in order to be able to use those lessons to move forward.
Right.
So that's why the word is forward. So instead of looking backwards and falling back into old habits, my thought this year is to just continue to move forward. So in all of my goals and all of my aspirations and things of that nature, to continue to move forward and not fall back. So not fall back into a full-time job.
Right.
Continue to be an entrepreneur. and
Right.
move
Take
forward in that realm.
take the path that you have gone on, because it's a good path and it's what you were looking for, and make
Correct.
sure you stay on that and
Exactly.
don't end up back. What was your word last year?
Now you put me on the spot.
I don't remember mine. Mine was discipline, I think, or focus, one of the two. Because I was
I think yours was focus.
because
if
I
we
knew
go
I
back and
had.
look.
I'm like, I have,
See, I would have to. I always post it on Facebook.
and then
And by the end of the year,
you don't even remember because it's like something that's ingrained.
Achieve.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Oh, yep.
Yep. I said achieve because I wanted to achieve all the goals I had put in front of me. So what January of last year, I had the goal to get out of my full-time job and to become a full-time realtor, and things like that. And there were a lot of other goals too. There were financial goals, there were, relationship goals, things of that nature. So I had a lot of different goals that I had put in front of me, and I wanted to achieve those goals. So that was my word for last year.
Awesome.
Yeah, don't
awesome.
ever put me on the spot like that.
I'm just because a lot of the things that I've been doing that I've realized, kind of going back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wasted time on that. I wasted time. Oh my God, I never gave them the time, stuff like that. And I feel like,
or I was late for this and late for that.
right. And I'm going to get rid of my 2 to 3 minutes late for every appointment I go to.
Here's the thing. A buddy of mine taught me years ago. He said to me, Mike, how come your time is worth more than my time? Because I was always late for him. Every time we would set a meeting to meet and hang out or whatever, even if we were just hanging out, I was always late, 5-10 minutes late, whatever. And, I would call or text and say, hey, I'm on my way, still, be polite about it. However, I was always late. And then one day he sat me down and he said, how come your time is worth more than my time? How come you think so less of me?
Mm-hmm.
Ouch. Yeah.
Yep. That you're just willing to let me sit here and wait around.
That your time is worth more. Yeah.
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 Or that you were,
So- Right. So at that point, I decided, you know what? I need to stop being late. And I almost get anxiety about being late. now.
I do.
Like, I don't like being late anymore because I don't want people to think that I'm taking advantage of their friendship, of their kindness, of their, their being,
Right.
taking them for granted or anything. I don't want people to feel that way.
Yeah.
So I try to be on time now.
Exactly. And I think there are circumstances where it's like,
Things
oh,
happen,
I'm going especially in our business,
forget about it.
okay, yeah, hey, we have an hour with this person, and then you go there and you find out the situation is different, stuff like that. But just to be like, just get there late because
I'll get there when I want to.
yeah, kind of
whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, the time, be on time, use time wisely, appreciate your time, and, have a good time all the time. That's it.
I like it.
Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. I'll report back to you.
Should we put Nate on the spot and see if he got a word of the year?
Do you have a word, Nate?
Well, I love your time thing because
You
when-
can't steal her.
Yeah, you can't have
Yes, I
it.
can.
If you don't have a word, just
Yes,
say,
I
hey,
can.
Yeah, but
I don't have a
if-
word.
You don't own that.
I know. I
copyright.
do not own time. I don't. No.
I was thinking about I've been fortunate enough to meet some very successful people, and I noticed that the really successful people, even though they're the busiest, they are really, really prompt on texting back and calling back. Like they're almost overly apologetic about, I'm sorry, I didn't, see your email, but you were, or the text. And then I noticed that the people that are so chronically horrible at texting back tend to be it's almost directly proportionate to the success. You know what I mean?
You
Isn't
saying that because I didn't
bizarre?
text you back the other day?
No,
So what-
because I didn't
See,
text
you
you back.
automatically take it personal because I do the same.
No.
But that is
So
my.
what you're saying
I'm gonna
is
work on this.
communication skills are a
Yeah.
primary driver of success.
I'm going to work on
Not a
that.
driver, but a
I'm
component.
going to work on
a
that.
component. Yeah.
I'm going to work on that.
Okay,
Where
okay.
someone texts me
Right.
and it's not that I'm rolling my eyes going, ugh.
Right.
But when you said that key phrase, which is, wait, your time is more important than
Right,
mine, even
right.
if it's something tiny
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, no
hey,
doubt.
I'm so sorry, I'm running behind. Let me do this.
Yeah.
I've noticed really successful people that have a gazillion different things and their time management crazy, they get back to you.
Yeah.
Whereas people that are constantly going, I'm so busy, I'm so busy,
Right.
Yeah,
are literally they're on a treadmill.
got it.
You know, and you can run 100 miles on a treadmill and get nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, and that's so. Anyway, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
I like
You
it.
put me on the spot.
I'm gonna let him steal my word.
Can I?
Are you going to steal the word or share it with him? Are you going to share it
Oh
with
yeah,
him?
yeah. yeah.
Well, Amy
no,
has
we're
a
gonna
version,
share.
and
Oh
I
my
have
gosh,
a
this is
version.
not what this is about at all. But this is this the first year you've thought about a word name?
Yes. Well, the one word thing.
The one word,
I
okay.
always hated the having a.
Yeah. So
Resolution-
that's
yeah, I
okay.
don't like
I'll be your one word mentor
Okay.
for your first
Please.
year.
I'll loan you the book.
Seriously. I
No,
would love
it's a short read.
Yeah,
it's
it
really
is very
not.
short
Oh, I don't care if it's a long read.
But
as
and
long
you
as
get
it's
the concept
valuable.
of it basically is that you take something to heart that you're going to raise to be more conscious about
more
it,
conscientious
that you
about it.
want to, that you know in your existence and your being that would be an improvement to the life that you want to lead.
Right.
It's like meditation. They usually have that
There you
one
go.
word
There you go.
Yep.
that
Yep.
you're focused on, and it's
Right.
only yours.
Right.
Yep.
You don't
No
tell
doubt.
anybody, but you.
Right.
know.
Right. Well, we tell everybody about our word
Well,
because
sure.
then it gives us accountability.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I'm doing Warrior 1 right now.
Just don't ask me about it in December. 'Cause
because at that point it's like, oh,
I'm thinking about my next word.
yeah.
Yeah.
But-
So
Okay.
last year we had some good shows.
We did. We started out the podcast, and I'm not even sure what month. Like I don't know, but yeah, we got through 2021.
Had
Having
some
a great
guests.
Yep, had some great guests and some great topics. Unfortunate topics
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't want to say, but there I think these topics are kind of monumental to what we want to do going forward,
Right.
which is your word.
Right. It's the foundation.
Yeah. So we talked about, sex trafficking,
Race.
race. We talked about
Reparations.
critical race theory,
Equity versus equality.
diversity,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But the main focus or the main, if you were going to generalize that and put it all together, what we were trying to get at is the fear and the division
Right.
that they're putting. Yeah, people are shitheads in all walks of life.
Right.
But the way the media and our government and everybody else are putting that together to pit us against each other.
Right.
Because it's not, yes, the act that happened is a bad thing. But having us as a general populace, human beings in the United States of America, having our emotions triggered by all this stuff
Right.
to ensure that we are fighting all the time is hopefully the point that we drove home with when you listen to all those shows.
Right. So hopefully people understood that we were talking about those hard subjects that a lot of people have to talk about, so that they understand that we're trying to bridge the gap between the division that the media and the government is putting in place.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what subject you're on. It feels as though we're continuously being divided. So we're talking about all these different conversations, so that our audience can see the different ways that we're being pulled apart.
And the different ways that you can actually think about things. And we've had some quality debates. It's quality conversations with people that don't think exactly the way we do.
Right.
You and I don't think exactly alike. But at the end of the day, we still agree that we need to come together and make some changes. Otherwise, we're all in a lot of trouble.
No doubt. At the end of the day, we still respect one another. At the end of the day, we still feel the same about not being divided.
Right.
You know, and no matter what topic we tackle, no matter what subject we're on or who we're speaking to, we always try to give them give their ideas and opinions the respect they deserve, and at the end of the day, come together with some type of, or try to come together with some type of consensus, even if it's to the point where we have to agree to disagree, but we're still going to, we're still not going to allow that subject or subject matter to divide us as a people. Right.
And there are always going to be two sides of every argument,
or more.
There's so many. You could go through 1,500 scenarios of one topic, and maybe not everybody is going to agree. Whatever. Right. But overall, the point of what the media and our government is trying to do is to make sure that we don't agree on things. But on the other hand, we've got a bunch of extreme liberals over here screaming at the top of their lungs, getting in the faces of our senators, so they seem like they're the only ones that are important, and they talk for the rest of us. And then on the right side, we have a bunch of extremists, that are, like the Antifa. And they're not.
No,
that's not left.
The good old boys.
Yeah. And so then you go from that extreme to this extreme, and they're just basically fighting with you. So we're just watching them go back and forth in a tennis match that we're not allowed to talk about. And
and that's the thing. I've been asked this question several times. Why isn't the voice of the 70% being heard? Is it because we're complacent? Is it because we are working too hard and trying to take care of our families to be involved in all of that crap? I mean, what is the reason for our voice being, besides the media silencing us, of course?
Yeah. I mean, when you think of 70% being the silent majority, and you get your stuff kicked off of YouTube because you're speaking misinformation, even though you haven't supposedly misinformation, even though you haven't even shown the proof, or what did somebody have a case, a trial, whatever.
Right.
So that entire thing is what is holding back the silent majority, I think. Either you have these really loud people that then the other 70% or whatever that percentage of the silent majority is, feel like that's, the media makes it seem like that's the way it is. Or you have people that just don't recognize
that these things are a problem. And they're complacent with it. Right. So, I've talked to people before. It's like, okay, well, I shouldn't be able, you can't come into my house and search in, just various things. And she's like, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, then what's the problem? Well, that attitude is the problem. Right. And that's the thing. It's not about not doing anything wrong. It's about having your rights stripped away from you. See, we've grown so comfortable in this country with having rights and having them, little bit by little bit being chipped away, that we don't realize that at some point it's going to become too much.
Right. Yeah, and it's already
we're going to have so much of our right. They're going to be able to come into your house, whomever, the authorities, come into your house, tell you what to do, how to do it. I mean, just in school, just in the public schools alone, you don't have. Once you send your kids to that facility, they have a right to teach your kids anything they want to teach them, and you can't say anything about it.
Right, unless you homeschool them, which they look down on that. So, or they used to. I don't know if they do now.
I think a lot of people homeschool now.
Yeah, I think it's more common.
Well, I think since Facebook and stuff like that, they're able to not only homeschool but get groups together where they're able to take them to the parks and do community things. I think the reason why they were frowning on that is saying that they weren't socialized well enough at that point.
Are you sure that it wasn't because of the socialization that they're so worried about as they forced them to wear masks at school and now are thinking Milwaukee and Madison are talking about shutting schools down again? Did you
Really?
hear? Did you
No, I
hear
didn't hear
that?
about
I saw Mike Gallagher
Okay.
put a video out. I think it was yesterday, and I posted it on my Facebook page today.
Let's dig that up.
Yeah,
Let's take a
I think he made a lot. There are some things that I felt like he was maybe being a little overdramatic about, and I don't think he said really anything incorrect.
Okay.
But I don't know. Jenny's here. She might have a term or two, and Audrey if she wants to pitch in. But I listened to this, and he's absolutely right in the overall point that he's trying to make. Maybe not exactly in the details, but I think in the overall point, he is pretty spot on where this entire COVID vaccine fiasco is going right
Did you
now.
listen to the video, Jenny? Did you get a chance to?
I agree with his concept about how we can't be living in fear, but I don't agree with his conclusion that shutting schools down led to fear.
Oh, yeah, I didn't read that into it. I felt like he didn't expound on all the other things that could be fear, but that's just one of them. But anyway, Nate, do you have that?
Yep, I
can
sure
you cue
do.
that up?
Yeah, this is
listen
Representative
to the little
Mike
bit of that.
Gallagher.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Omicron is spreading. It seems like everyone has had it, even those who've been double and triple vaccinated. I think it's fair to say President Biden has failed to shut down the virus as he promised. He's also seemingly squandered the trillions of dollars that were allocated for coronavirus relief, turning down efforts to ramp up the production of rapid at-home tests, failing to make it easy to get treatments like monoclonal antibodies widely available. Instead, the administration spent the last year just demonizing unvaccinated people, pushing unconstitutional mandates, allowing Fauci to further shred the credibility of the public health establishment. All of this was unproductive.
Yes, absolutely. So, and one of the things that he said was basically the pitting the unvaccinated against the vaccinated.
Right.
That's where we are right now.
Right.
It doesn't matter on this entire planet.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're white, black, male, female,
Absolutely.
gay, straight, whatever.
Right.
You are either vaccinated or unvaccinated
And that's
in
where
the
it
eyes of
begins
our
and
government.
ends right now.
And that's where they've got us all pitted against each other in these little groups.
Right.
And now they have half the planet pitted. Well, it's just the United States, because India, they have to get it no matter what. They're forced to get it. Australia, I didn't read into all the details, but I had heard today that Australia is on their 4th booster. Well, but it makes the antibodies 5 times higher than, well, at what point are we not even human anymore?
Right.
So I listened to that and I was like, oh my God, that's
So let's just talk about India real quick. I mean, everyone in India has to have the shot. They're forced to get the shot, whether they want it or not.
And what happens if
Or the vaccine, excuse me.
what is
whether
the
they want it or
means
not.
of force? So when you, and this is where people are like, oh, they're forced, so a big deal. What is the means of force?
Right.
Like, if you moved to India and you refused to get the shot, how far would they go before you would either get the shot or not be a person in society anymore?
Right. Well, I mean, even in places like California and Illinois is what they're doing now is doing the mandates like they're doing in California. So you have to show your vaccine card in order to get into any establishment. But here's the kicker. In Illinois, as long as you're only in the restaurant for 10 minutes, you can walk in there without a vaccine card. What?
What?
Hold
Is
on.
it like
hold
pick
on.
up?
Yeah.
Like pick up
Yeah.
your food
Yeah.
and get out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could walk in the door without a vaccine, pick up your food, and walk out, but you can't sit and eat. And you can only be in there for 10 minutes. And if the establishment does not enforce these rules, I got it right here. If the establishment doesn't enforce these rules, they can be fined anywhere from $750 to $2,500. So now there are measurements prior to that. Okay, so it's not like as soon as they break that rule, they get the fine. That's not how
Right.
it is. So
Don't
they have
check that, and yeah.
No,
I mean, it's a fact,
No,
but
definitely fact check it. Anything I say,
Right.
please fact check it.
right. Well,
Do not take my word
here's
for
the thing
anything.
I don't like, and this is just a little offshoot here, but here's the thing I don't like about fact checking. They will, like, if you say something like always, mostly, whatever, mostly better be at least 51%, and always better always, be. So it's they kind of take what you meant. I mean, when I say to you, oh, it's always whatever, it's not every single time 100%. So. But anyway, so when I said fact check, I was like, yeah, make sure. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Anyway.
So there's 3 different tiers. So first they get a talking to, then they get a strict a letter sent to them saying, hey, these are the things that you need to do, and then the third thing is a fine, and the fine is anywhere from $750 to $2,500, and it's a misdemeanor. It's not a felony or anything like that. It's a misdemeanor fine. However, the point I'm getting at is that if you can walk into a restaurant for 10 minutes, it only takes a couple of minutes to walk in there and cough or sneeze and give somebody something.
Right. I don't understand where they're getting the time
So I don't
factor.
understand. So the thing that I don't understand is you have these people sitting here. This person walks in, they sneeze, they walk out. Everybody that's sitting in that restaurant in that vicinity within 10 feet of that person has got whatever that person just sneezed.
6 feet. Unless
Okay.
they touch. See, and
6
I want to
feet.
go back to this. Yeah,
Okay.
I totally get what you're saying.
But to your point, they're using that in Illinois to divide the people in Illinois. So now they're not only dividing them, but they're forcing the people who choose not to be vaccinated to make a decision, or to put them in a situation where, okay, you can't have these things if you don't do XYZ. So if you don't get the shot or if you don't get vaccinated, then you're not going to be able to go to a restaurant and sit down and eat with your family or your fiance or your friend or your girlfriend or whatever.
Right. But nothing makes sense.
Right.
I mean, when this first came out, and
This is 7-Up, by the way, just so you know.
okay, I'm not. I'm gonna have
Dry January. There's nothing in
Yeah.
there. Okay, go ahead.
But it still feels great drinking out of I mean, just because you're drinking a soda doesn't mean you need to drink it out of a soda glass. Anyway, they when you think back to where all this started, when COVID hit, that is going to be the phrase of the century. When COVID hit, it was sanitize your hand, wash your hands, 20 seconds, pick your song, blah, 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 blah. Masks and 6 feet away and quarantine for 14 days. Right. Okay. So now that we have come back together to that, they're not even going back to making the stores and things. Like, I go into Walmart and there's that one hand sanitizer there now. And I'm not saying people should have to do it, but nobody's going back and saying, okay, well, now the Omicron virus, we've been told, variant, sorry, is more transmittable but less deadly.
Right.
And so, but we're not going back to just like, okay, so then the people that have it, wouldn't it make sense that once they realize they have it, they should be forced, using that word lightly, to sanitize their hands, wear a mask, and stay 6 feet away from people? Why are 10% of the people at risk punishing 90% of the people that aren't? And I know that the transmission is more prevalent with this latest variant.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. But, and we can only do what the number, but still things don't add up.
So here's what we did. We trusted our officials. They gave us suggestions. We followed those suggestions. They changed the suggestions. We followed those suggestions. They changed the suggestions. We followed those suggestions. So when do we say, you know what? I don't think you guys know what the hell you're doing.
Right.
I get that this is a serious situation. There are some people that are dying from this, and I'm not going to deny that there are people that are dying.
There are people that die from lung cancer and a lot of other things too.
But we don't talk about the common or the flu anymore at all. In the last year, I have heard nothing about the flu except go get your flu shot. That's all I've heard about it.
Do they do that? Like,
But we haven't heard about any deaths over the flu.
Mm-mm.
We haven't heard about anybody getting the flu. We haven't heard about what variant or
Right.
what kind of flu is
Which
out there
is
today.
good because they wanted to. I mean, the flu is.
So did we
wipe out
beat the flu now?
Yeah,
Is
well,
there no more
maybe
flus?
fighting COVID is going to beat the flu. So then the next thing that we get when we fight that will beat COVID. I don't know. It's never going to go away.
Right.
Especially
Right.
if you have people in. If you have your borders open and people in and out and you can't keep. You would have to put the entire population in solitary confinement.
So when are the people in America going to realize that the more we allow them to take away from us, the more they will be able to take away
If
from us?
the United States of America had one word for 2022, it should be freedom.
And that should be for 2023, 2024.
Or 2025. Yeah. I saw a really good post today
like
that
that.
made
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
Jenny had an
yeah.
awesome post today
Yeah.
that it just really made me think about that.
No, yeah, because that's Jenny's word forever.
Yeah.
Freedom, being free.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Jenny for president.
Oh, we're in a world of trouble.
Hey, we can't be
We
much
can't-
worse off than we
We
are
can't
now.
have Mike being the first lady. I mean,
the first dude.
He doesn't
Not you,
rock
Mike.
solid
no,
7 minutes.
No, not
every
me,
press
Mike.
conference.
Mike, her guy, Mike.
Oh man, yeah. I honestly believe I thought that was very very.
Actually, we can. We might have some good barbecues. I'm sorry. Go
Anyway,
ahead.
we have to.
We have
Why-
to understand that,
right.
that we're being divided here. We're being separated as a people.
Right. No matter what you think of COVID and the vaccinations, and when this first started, when COVID hit, 2 weeks, in 2 weeks we'll just what did they call it? Reduce the curve, flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve.
Yeah, flatten the curve. And then that didn't. Well, we kind of did. And then we didn't. And then it's like, oh, well, the king and I will grant you your privileges to go see your family at the holidays now. And that then didn't. And we're still. And
here's the thing,
now they're talking about closing schools again in Milwaukee and Madison.
They're not just pitting strangers against strangers. This is family members against family members. I went to California for Thanksgiving. My family said, "Hey, come on out." I said, "Okay." I went out.
Brought your daughter.
Brought my daughter, and when I got there, spent the money to get there, leave my car at in Chicago, pay for that, pay for the flight there, pay for the hotel. I get there, and they find out I don't have the shot, the vaccination, and they say, "Oh, yeah, you're uninvited."
And what did you guys end up doing on Thanksgiving?
We stayed in the hotel. We sat in the hotel room.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's such bullshit.
Until we could get out of there the next day. Long story short, we're pitting family members against family members
For something that, they're the scientists, but at what point are people going to realize there are people out there that don't have our best interests in mind? The only people that are being positively affected in any of this are the pharmaceuticals that are making all this money.
People that are making the money.
People are making the money. Gallagher had a good point. He's like, we spent trillions of dollars. We've been and they keep wanting more money. Trillions and trillions. Our national debt is almost 30 trillion freaking dollars right now. And they want more to combat something that hasn't gone away, that they just keep prolonging. And then what? At what point is enough enough? I don't, everybody thinks we're just going to get over this. I think this is there, and you can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I don't. I don't see how this is ever going to end if we just keep being complacent as we all have been.
The reason why people are called conspiracy theorists is to discredit what they're saying. Okay. Now, are there some people out there that are, hey, the aliens came and they took me to, Jupiter and brought me back? Are there people out there like that? Yes. Okay. But when you stifle the opposite opinion, then you're trying to hide something, in my opinion. Okay. So we're not being able to, we're not allowed to hear information, opposing information about COVID, about the shot, about the fact that people that have gotten vaccinated there are some people that are still dying.
Right.
Okay. We're not allowed to have that information readily available to us. So if you're stifling that information or hiding that information and we have to dig in order to find it, in my opinion, you're hiding something. You're doing something wrong. Because you should, if you're right, if you are telling the truth, you should not have to hide from anything.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. So, we have a conspiracy theory to somebody. It is a person calls somebody a conspiracy theorist because they don't believe their truth. But it goes on both sides because, the left side doesn't believe the right side's truth and the right side doesn't believe the left side's truth. And we all want to be right.
On
but
both sides, they're called conspiracy
right.
theorists. It doesn't matter what side you're on. If you lean, too far left or right, you're called a conspiracy theorist. Not that.
Right. And that's just another way for them to divide us.
Exactly.
I think let's listen to the rest of Mike Gallagher's clip here.
And the fact is now more people have died under Biden's coronavirus watch than under Trump's. And remember, Biden campaigned on this as a candidate. He said anyone who is responsible for that many deaths should not remain president of the United States of America. So because of all of this, a lot of institutions are now considering shutting down again, or they are reimposing mitigation strategies that didn't work the last time. So for example, in Washington, D.C., they just announced a citywide vaccination entry requirement for indoor facilities. We've also had college football bowls canceled, NHL games postponed, colleges that are 99% vaccinated and filled with young people shutting down. You can almost feel the fear setting in again.
Yeah, they shut an entire season of NFL football down. They shut the planet down. And now that we have a variant that it's killing some people, but it's not killing as many, we need to go back to that.
They're saying that this particular variant is milder than the Delta variant. So if it's milder than the Delta variant, so it's not killing as many people, why would we have to go back to shutting anything down? I mean, let's get it straight. Either it's bad enough to shut the place down or it's not bad enough to shut the place down. Don't tell me one thing one day and then come back and tell me something different the next day. Now, I understand that some people are going to say
science and,
the science changes and this, that, and the other and blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. First you say wear a mask, then you say don't wear a mask, then you say wear 3 masks, then you say don't wear a mask at all. But I mean, forget about it. There's been so many different things that have been changed and altered, and each thing continues to divide us more. That's the main thing that I want people to understand, or that we want people to understand. These are things that are dividing us as a people, as a country. I mean, right now you have like you said earlier, you have people of all different races, creeds, colors, sexual orientation, whatever, falling on one side or the other.
You either are against the vaccine or I shouldn't say against it. You either are okay with getting it or you're okay with not getting it.
I like the way you put that. Because I'm not against anybody getting it.
I'm not either. If you want to get the vaccine, get the vaccine.
For you doing whatever makes your little heart happy.
Whatever you feel. And if you think that I'm a threat to you after you get your vaccine, then...
Which is totally illogical. However, finish your statement.
Then why do I have to stay home? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, we've already been directed, if you show symptoms, that we're just going to quarantine ourselves so that even though we don't have symptoms, I want to know what the end game is here, because I truly, back in the days, the FDA or whoever would test things and have all these trials and stuff. We are, how long? Just a little over a year into having a vaccine. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And
a little,
yeah,
maybe a little under.
Because Trump had it so like November,
right.
Yeah.
So
we're a little over a year for a vaccine that is already going to like 3 or 4 boosters.
Right.
And how much? Like, when are people going to recognize that it hasn't been tested? We are the test.
We are the test. Yep. And the sad part is that we're not getting all the information. So we're hearing a little bit of information about people who have gotten a shot that have gotten sick from it. Okay, they some people couldn't walk anymore. Some people ended up with blood clots.
Right.
Some people ended up with heart problems and so forth.
Right.
And we're able to dig that information up if we keep looking and trying to see what other information is out there. So don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm digging to find opposing information. As a matter of fact, I would love to find information that is not opposing.
Right.
I would love to find information that makes me feel comfortable with getting the shot.
Here's one.
Because I continue to find information that opposes that, it's just too soon for me.
Right.
I might get the shot 10 years from now. I might do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it now. I'm not going to be the test dummy.
And that's where this kind of like into that conversation where we were talking about like people that are complacent and stuff. There are people out there that don't necessarily want to get the shot or trust the government, whatever, but they want to have that peace of mind that if something, their peace of mind is of more value than any potential disease that they could get.
Right.
And I get that. And that's fine. I am not of that. You're
not in that group.
I'm just not in that group. But should I be ostracized for it?
Audrey was saying something not too long ago about how we're more at risk. The people that are unvaccinated are more at risk than the people that are vaccinated. So and help me understand your rationale behind that. Audrey's here with us too. Help me understand your rationale behind that.
So are you worried about us not being vaccinated?
No.
I should be worried about you?
Right, because I can carry it to you.
And that's fine, because then if I get it, then I've already had it, so I have the antibodies. If I get it.
Necessarily, it depends on what variant you had, whether or not you have the antibodies for it.
Okay, so in the risk of me getting dying from it or anything is pretty low?
Higher than my risk.
Okay.
That's why you should be more worried about me than I am of you.
I'm not worried about, I'm going to worry about myself. I'm glad that you're vaccinated and that you're going to be safe. It's my life.
No, but
I'm going to take my chance.
What she's saying is that if she got COVID and she gave it to you, unvaccinated person, you're more at risk of dying from it than she is because she's got the shot.
Right.
Right. So we should be worried about the people that are vaccinated.
No, that's why they're worried that we're not vaccinated.
Because we're going to die if they give it to us?
Because we're overloading the hospitals. Because the people aren't working at the hospitals because they're being forced to be vaccinated. But whatever.
Yeah.
And I get that.
My family
and I did feel really bad at that. Like I didn't realize it was a rule until after they're like, you weren't supposed to take off your mask. And sorry. But, and that's their rules. If you want, there are a lot of people that are saying, oh, I'm not, boycott that business. If they, okay. If I go to get to a business and
boycott that business, another way to divide.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. All of us unvaccinated people are going to boycott a business. So now we're just going to divide ourselves again. When does it end? When do we stop dividing ourselves?
And at what point are we going to be like, oh, you only have 3 boosters? You don't have 4 yet? Well, you're not coming to Christmas dinner then. I mean, seriously though, where does this end?
It doesn't, and that's the thing. We need to continue to try to get to try to pull people together instead of continuously doing things to divide us. You know,
Right.
it's enough's enough already.
Right. Yeah. And I don't, you know, as far as Audrey's point, and I get that. And I can see both sides, because the people that are vaccinated want to be sure that they are, they're not worried about getting it. Well, you're still getting it, but
they're still worried
right.
about
But it's
getting
just not as, not effective.
it's not going to be as harsh.
Right.
It's still going to be a little bit milder.
Right.
However,
People
who have gotten the shot are still dying.
Yes, the people that got in the shot are still dying, and
I wish they would be more forthcoming with those numbers. Okay, you have to dig to find those numbers, and they're hiding them. People who have gotten the shot are still dying.
Yeah, we'll have, if anybody out in our audience, listeners, have statistics on that and want to post it in our comments, that would be great, because we do, I agree with you, but I can't comment necessarily on any specifics.
I don't, and I don't have the statistics or numbers or anything like that. You know, it's things that you read and so forth that people, you know, who have gotten the shot have died. And I have an app on my phone that sends me news feeds and stuff all the time, breaking news stories and all of that. So every once in a while I'll come across, you know, one that says that, you know.
Right.
Anyway, long story short, we do need. I would like our listeners to leave comments, you
Yes.
know, and let us know their thoughts on this whole situation.
The year
you know?
of 2020 is also going to be called, or the word I should say should be interactive for this show, because we really do want to hear people's.
So you're saying we should have a word for the show? You got your word. I got my word. Nate stole your word. And
He's borrowing it.
Borrowing.
Yeah.
We're sharing
Modifying.
it. We're sharing it. I'm lending it. Whatever.
And now we have a word for the show. Interact. I like it.
Interactive.
I like it.
And then the country, of course, should be freedom for the rest of
Yeah.
our
No,
lives.
I really like that one.
Yeah,
I really like that one.
Yeah, because we definitely would like to know from the listeners what your thoughts are. What do you know? Like, are there things that
Is there something is there something I'm missing?
right?
You know, so I have my opinion. I think this way. Is there something I'm missing?
Right.
Tell me I'm wrong, and I will research it to find out whether that, you know, that you're being truthful with me. But at the same time, anything that I say to you, please research it.
Right.
Don't take my word for gospel, because
Right.
it's not.
We're too
you know?
far in the rabbit hole of people not agreeing with somebody and then just saying they don't agree with them and calling them a name or whatever, but not providing, like, there's no debate anymore. There's just fighting.
Right.
And we want to get both sides of the story in not a radical way on either side, but
Right.
get in a conversational way.
Right.
So that, you know, if there are things that we're talking about that, well, I'm not sure about that, but you do have that information, please post it under in the comments. Well, first you have to like and share, or
It's like and subscribe.
like and we're actually going to be
subscribe,
on
comment, share.
or whatever it is on that medium. I don't know. We're gonna.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're on different platforms now.
There are platforms we're gonna be on that I am not even subscribed to. So I don't know what
We need to fix that.
well, no, I mean just
I know. I'm
like,
teasing
you know, how
I'm teasing you.
because we're moving away from YouTube and
Right.
like how a lot of people gravitated or migrated to Parler and now to whatever. So
Right.
there are things that we don't even realize that we're going to end up being on, that we will be on. Is
Gotcha.
what I was trying to point out. But
Hold on.
yeah. So hey, Nate, why don't you cue up the rest of that, Mike Gallagher?
All right, here we go.
And the media are stoking the fear. They're pushing the narrative that this feels like March 2020 again, because that's how they profit. They profit from the fear. But here's the thing. It's not March 2020. We have way more weapons in our arsenal than we did back then. We have treatments. We have vaccines. We have hospital protocols that work. And oh, by the way, we have a good deal of immunity, natural and otherwise, already built into the population. So please don't fall for the fear game. We have the tools we need to continue to live our lives while protecting the vulnerable. And if you disagree with me on that point, fair enough. But at the very least, can we agree that we cannot shut down schools again?
No, we can't. I know there are a lot of people out there that homeschool, but we're talking about our next generations. You're talking about, I mean, I have nephew. I know that I have one that's flourishing in school because of he likes the fact that he can sit at his computer, and I have one that is like, it's devastating, not devastating him, but it definitely is making a hindering him. Yeah, that's the right word. If we go back to shutting down our schools, where do we ever end? And how is this going to affect the next generation? And how much more money can we spend? Because if we shut down schools, then guess what? We still have to pay teachers, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is
they
that
still
how
get
that
paid.
works?
Oh, yeah. They still get paid.
Are we going to
and as they should.
Right.
As
Well,
they should.
right. I mean, but yes, because you're right. They're actually still teaching
They're still teaching online, but I mean,
right.
So if you look at all the teachers, if we shut down the schools and don't pay the teachers, now we got teachers that are struggling trying to take care of their families.
Right.
And that's not cool.
I don't think that.
But if we stop paying them, there'd be less teachers for it. All right, that was a little Kurt. I'm sorry.
Kurt, who's Kurt? Hey Nate, push the button.
No, that doesn't deserve that, Nate. Don't do that.
I won't do that.
No, no, not that button. The other button, the Mike Gallagher button.
Oh,
This was our biggest blunder. And shame on us if we repeat it again. We can't afford to inject that fear into our kids' classrooms or allow them to fall further behind. And I'm sorry, but remote learning is not a substitute, especially for young kids. Remote learning is a euphemism for school shutdowns, and that is a recipe for student failure. Sitting in front of a screen all day is not learning. And we have schools in Wisconsin that are now shutting down again. We have Milwaukee Public Schools shutting down. Same with Madison. I heard reports of Racine. Thankfully, not yet in Northeast Wisconsin. But, and oh, by the way, when it comes to remote learning, talk about a policy that punishes the poor relative to the rich. Rich people can do remote work. Rich people can run away to their cottages or their beach houses with a bunch of iPads and high-speed internet. And they can probably hire private tutors to make up for learning loss. But while they're sitting there wondering who stocks the shelves at the local Whole Foods, but working class people have to work in person.
And that's the thing also. So you have working class families who have to go to work and they have their kids at home. So what do they do with their children?
Right. Is the teacher really disciplining them, or, especially at that younger age, which I think he was talking about?
Teaching, not disciplining. Teaching.
Well, I mean,
are they teaching them in an in-home environment?
Right. Are they learning the discipline they need in order to focus? I guess you don't really learn that in school either. But
when you say discipline, are you speaking academic discipline, or are you speaking like behavioral discipline?
Academic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they're not getting the disciplines, the
Yeah.
learning disciplines that they need. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that so people are not thinking that you're advocating for corporal punishment.
No.
I just wanted to make sure that we clarify that.
More spankings. More spankings.
I think I'm evolved enough in my
whoop your child.
Yeah,
No.
I'm evolved enough in my wisdom to know that spanking kids are no longer.
I just wanted to make sure that it was clear.
Right. Okay.
That
All right.
That's what you were talking about. I understood it.
Right. Yeah.
However, not everybody would have understood that.
Right. And maybe a little behavioral, hey, you don't have, you can't just get up in the middle of the classroom and go, whatever. But it mostly, I was talking about.
Okay.
And just the social aspect of it. You can't.
Not everybody values the social aspect.
No, I know not everybody does, but why are you depriving people that do?
I know my youngest daughter, she didn't like it at all. She wanted to be in school, and she was having a difficult time. She kept up on her grades barely. I mean, she did a decent job, but like emotionally, and she was just dying inside. She just, I want to see my friends. I want to go do stuff. I want to, she's a social butterfly, and she wanted to be out in the world.
Yep.
Where,
well, and that's the thing too, and that's the same with one of my nephews. It's like he's the social one, and he wanted to be out there when he's failing in school. And I have a feeling it's because he's listening over here, but he's still talking to his friends down here, because he's getting and so that attention span isn't there. But in the other one, I mean, he's a bookworm or academic. I mean, he's just always been that way. So video, no video, he'd still absorb and want to learn the information and stuff like that. But the point being that we're not hearing about the studies that say, okay, well, we save these lives by doing this, but what kind of effect does it have on the situational effect that it has on these younger lives who aren't even at risk of dying?
Well, we're going to find out over time.
Over time.
Yeah,
it's going to take some time, but we're going to find out.
10, 15, 20 years, we'll find out exactly what was going on.
Well, and Jenny, what do you were kind of nodding your head. Or shaking? Nodding, shaking.
When it comes to the whole school thing and his idea that we're failing our children and things like that, I completely disagree with all of that. I think that what this is doing is showing how broken school already was. Mm-hmm. And now these children are finding new ways to learn. So their grades might be failing, or, they might look like they're falling behind with their grades, but they're learning more than I think they've ever learned. Because now, instead of stuck in a classroom learning what the teachers tell them, they are online. They are reading articles. They are getting information, and they're learning how to think for themselves.
Oh, I didn't really think of it that way.
But are they truly doing that, though, is the question. I mean, I think that a lot of children are sitting at home playing with, and don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming the parents or anything like that, but you got some parents out there who are complacent, They use the school to babysit their kids, and when the kids get home, they don't help them with their homework. Right. They don't look over their homework.
Well, and there are some that
anything
use,
like that, and they just say, "Hey, look, and when the kids are at home working online, are they? Does the parent even know? Does the parent even care? There's some of that. What are your thoughts about that?
Can the parent even be available?
I think that the idea that the children are only learning because a teacher is teaching them is already a fallacy. So even though they're not learning about things and not paying attention in school, it doesn't mean that they're not learning. So the idea that our children are failing because they're getting lower grades says that the only thing that teaches us whether or not our children are going to be successful in life is their grades. And I'm sorry, but I got a lot of D's and C's and I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. And that's not the mark of education. And we're learning more now of different ways to learn.
Right. So let me ask you this. What's your take on the social aspect of it?
Kids in school don't socialize. Be quiet, sit down, face forward. I mean, my oldest is when he got into 6th grade, there's no more recess anymore. He couldn't even go outside unless he got to draw for a lottery to play basketball occasionally.
Really?
Yeah. There's no socialization in school at all. Whereas when they were home, they're socializing with FaceTime. They're socializing on their phone. Even when they were locked up in the house, they got more socialization than they did in school.
What do you think, Mike?
I was a C student at best. We talked about that on one of the podcasts, how I dropped out of the school in the 9th grade and didn't get a formal education until in my 30s, where I went and got
your GED or whatever.
No, I got a GED when I got out of high school.
Oh, yeah.
But I went and got a marketing degree.
Oh, yeah.
And associate's degree in marketing and then a bachelor's in business. I am not personally, I don't think education, the formal education. I used to think, that was the be all end all of how we need to get ahead.
Oh, and I don't think the education system. I think it's screwed up and indoctrinated and whatever. But I
think it's a cog teaching people how to live in a cog. That's all I think it is.
Right.
We're not teaching children how to think for themselves. We're not teaching them how to be innovators. We're not teaching them how to.
But
how
are we
to-
doing that if that same curriculum and those same people are teaching them through a computer?
Help me understand your
So you're. I guess I'm looking at it more from a institutional perspective.
Sure.
So yeah, whether they're remote or in school, they are still getting the same curriculum.
No, I think what the point that Jenny was trying to drive home with saying that homeschooling is probably better, a better situation, or even smaller class sizes, or things like that is probably a better situation, because the children aren't just learning the cookie cutter thing that the public schools put together. But they're learning more things at home. So they're engaging with the parents. Hopefully the parents are taking them out to parks. They're talking. They're discovering the world, So they're learning it. They're still learning.
While the
but they're
parents are
learning in a
fighting
different
about whether, worried about money, fighting about vaccines and all that other stuff. Yeah, they really put a lot of people. I don't have any kids of my own. I can't even imagine being a parent right now and juggling all the things I juggle already, and then having to worry about whether or not the people outside of my circle are actually helping to shape the minds of their kids, I guess. It concerns me, especially since, that's why we have such a division, because we have people that were raised, I shouldn't say people that are raised one way.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Jenny completely disagrees with us on the subject about
on everything.
About
No, that's Audrey. Wait, no. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, guys. We appreciate you being here.
About the whole school situation. However, we can agree that you have your opinion, I have my opinion, and at the end of the day, we're still going to work with each other. We're still going to hang out with each other.
Right.
We're still going to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. And the
And I
point
think
of the
that's how you
story,
make a better world.
Yeah. And the point of the story, I don't know. Remember, if is that the last cut, Nate? You want to?
Let's see here.
And their kids need to be in school, in person, with teachers, and with other students. Not even Biden's education secretary wants to shut schools down at this point, because he recognizes how bad of an impact it's had on our kids. So please, at a time when this country seems divided on everything, particularly everything related to coronavirus, can we at a minimum agree on the fact that schools have to stay open? We can't live in fear, and we definitely can't allow this fear to mess up our kids. At this point of the pandemic, we should be trying as hard as we can to teach our kids courage, not fear. They've learned fear for the past 2 years. And courage means confronting the problem, not running away to Rehoboth or blaming someone else. So to end where we began, Biden ran on this idea that he had a federal government solution to COVID. But we're now a year into his presidency, and it's obvious that this plan, such as it ever existed, failed.
Miserably.
Yep. And we spent a lot of money. Watch it fail, I guess. We shouldn't say that. It hasn't all failed. We've gotten a lot of people vaccinated. The vaccine is out there, and the people that want to get vaccinated and feel that is the route to take, that it's there for them. So I think we are it's not like we were in a worse place than we are. I think we just are allowing this to create this is the biggest rift.
Us to continue to drive a huge wedge in between the vaxxed and unvaxxed.
Right.
And we need to figure out a way to bridge that gap and bring the people in the United States back together.
What's next? Look at how far we've got. We were talking earlier about how you're just eroding the freedoms and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything is a piece or a brick to the path of something else. So we're going in this direction with the COVID vaccines. At this point, there's no turning back. If we're willing to take, it was so easy to make sure everybody, to force everybody to take this vaccine and 5 boosters or whatever. What's the next thing that comes up? And the next thing, and the next thing. We as a world population, we are subject to disease. Yeah, in utopia and your happy place, whatever, there's no such thing as disease. But using my gut and my, the way I'm able to, like, I don't know, my brain kind of works weird, where it just kind of puts these big puzzle pieces together. And I'm putting all the puzzle pieces together, and it's not looking good for us at all.
Yeah, if they're able to force us, if they're able to strip your rights away to a point where they're able to force you to do something that with your body that you don't want done with your body, the last question is, what's next?
Right.
And that's a whole nother show.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the 70% Podcast.
I'm Amy Alexander.
I'm Mike Sewell.
Please like, comment, share, or whatever button you need to see us again.
No doubt.